I should have known better. My son at 2 years old was terrified of a Thomas the Train episode when Henry got stuck in the tunnel because he did not want to get wet in the rain. My son was screeching for us to stop the video at 2 years old. All indications show that he had an extra sensitive imagination, but I still failed. Hi guys, I'm Kathleen. I'm a homeschool graduate, a homeschool mom, and a learning enthusiast, and I'm gifted with a gifted son as well. So let me tell you what happened. We started reading this book, The Story of the Orchestra of Sleeping Beauty. It is a gorgeous book with pictures that are gorgeously illustrated, telling the story of the ballet, and in it there's these buttons that the kids can push to listen to Piechowski's music. So my kids love this, and my daughter especially loved this, and I've been reading this for several weeks, so I decided, hey, let's put on the ballet. So we pulled up a ballet company and their production, and we're watching that periodically during snack time. My kids love that so much that we did some ballet dancing, or attempt thereof. We listened to more Piechowski's music. We read another rendition of The Story of Sleeping Beauty. So I decided, of course, the next logical step for a young child is to watch the Disney version of Sleeping Beauty, the classic. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this. When we got to the section about the dragon, Stephen did not like it. He was scared. Whereas my daughter, my 1-year-old daughter, was roaring back at the dragon as the dragon roared at us. So I knew my son was extra sensitive to videos still, to movies still. But it still did not click in my head. Meanwhile, we are also listening to an audiobook of The Hobbit. He is engaged, he's having fun, he loves the story until we get to the ogres. And after that, the goblins. And my son started making comments of, yeah, I don't like the story because I don't like goblins, or I don't like ogres. But he was calm about it, so I'm like, I don't like them either. We'll keep listening to it. And then I read him this story. We're going through cultures of the world in our homeschool. So the next stop was China, and we read a story about the Silk Princess. It's a legend in Chinese tradition that a princess or queen, they're not quite sure which, discovered and invented silk. So this is a story from a little girl's perspective. And in this story, she comes across a dragon. When my son got to that page, he immediately plugged his ears, and I stopped reading and said, why are you plugging your ears, Stephen? He said, I don't like dragons. So that's when it hit me. I have a super sensitive kid with his imagination, which I should have known. I was just not adjusting for it. You see, many gifted brains are wired for a greater capacity or intensity for imagination. So beautiful things are even more heavenly in our minds, and scary things are exceedingly more terrifying to us. As a kid, I hated Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, and the Little Mermaid because of the scary parts of them, even when I was 7 and 8. And then when I got to high school, I watched The Birds by Alfred Hitchcock, and to this day, large flocks of birds still make me nervous. And don't even get me started on horror movies. I will not watch a horror movie because my imagination will make the scariness so much more terrifying. But it's not just our perception of reality. It's actually beyond that. It's daydreaming. We tend to be the ones with imaginary friends, or live an imaginary world, or create an imaginary world for ourselves. We as kids and even adults struggle with the possibility of monsters under our beds or in the closet, or strangers breaking into our house at night. Now, on the positive side, we can use this imaginative intensity to create beautiful works of art, gorgeous ethereal music, and groundbreaking theories of relativity. Yes, Einstein completely worked out the theory of relativity in his imagination first, before he refined details on paper and out of his head. Okay, getting back to the story with my son. We did finish this book. I just had to modify it and tell him that dragons in Chinese culture are benevolent and bring good luck and rain and all these things, but the book was written by a Westerner, so I had to make that up because he didn't get it right. And then beyond that, we stopped listening to The Hobbit, even though he was engaged with it, even though he's capable of enjoying it, even now as a 4-year-old. But I just knew there would be certain parts, especially Smaug towards the end, that his imagination is just not ready for right now. So we put it off until he is ready. I have committed to not bringing any more scary kid movies to him. That includes Toy Story, The Lion King, all these classic videos the kids grew up with. But he is not, he's going to be, but he is going to be behind the curve on when he sees some of those. It's not going to be forever. We mature, we develop, and we learn to rein in our imaginations. But until then, I have to be sensitive to his sensitivities.